So the next example I want to do with you guys is question 3. This is a dihybrid cross that we're doing. So we're actually going to look at 2 different characters. It looks like we're looking at freckles and we're looking at tongue rolling. So we're actually going to run that punnet together. And it looks scary at first. In this 16 square punnet, I'm going to help you set it up. So this cross will actually be a 4x4 and not a 2x2 like you guys have been doing with those monohybrid or 1 character crosses. All right, so it looks like we have freckles, and freckles have an uppercase F. That looks like freckles are dominant, and the ability to roll your tongue is an uppercase R. I have both those dominant traits because I can do both those things, and I have freckles. So they're both dominant traits. Write the genotypes and phenotypes below. All right, so we've done this together already. So genotype, it looks like we could either have homozygous dominant, heterozygous. I'll try to make that lowercase f look as a lowercase f as much as I can, and then homozygous recessive right there. Phenotypes, since freckles is dominant, this guy will have freckles. Heterozygous will also have freckles. And it looks like the homozygous recessive will not have freckles. No freckles for this individual. Tongue rolling uppercase R. So genotypes, homozygous dominant, heterozygous, homozygous recessive. I'm going to say tongue roller. I'm going to put TR for short. Tongue roller. No, let me actually write it out. Tongue roller. Okay. Looks like the heterozygote is also a tongue roller, having that dominant allele. Only my homozygous recessive will not be able to roll the tongue, non-tongue roller. All right. So my next set, if a person is heterozygous for both traits, so it looks like I'm looking at this and this individual, what kind of gametes can they produce? Remember, 1 allele of each gene, so 1 gene for freckles, 1 gene for tongue rolling, must go into each gamete. So what I'm trying to teach you guys, let me show you the wrong thing to do here. Let me just highlight that we're looking at this individual, we're looking at this individual. So a lot of times the student's like, okay, they're heterozygous, so I'm going to go ahead and write, I'll do different colors, so I'm going to go ahead and write that genotype for freckles, and then they say I'm going to write this genotype for tongue rolling, and that's true. Then, this is the wrong way to do it. Then students tell me, all right, well then this allele must go there, uppercase F, this one here, lowercase f, this one here, uppercase R, this one here, lowercase r. That is incorrect. You wouldn't do that. The reason why you wouldn't do that is because you want to have 1 allele for each gene. So over here, I need 1 allele for freckles. I also need 1 allele for tongue rolling. Same here. So you're actually going to have 2 alleles in each of the gametes. Let me show you how you're going to do that. We do something called FOIL. I'm going to do that over here. So, FOIL stands for first. So what you do with first is you go ahead and get the 2 alleles that are first. Here's the first blue allele, that's an uppercase F. Here's the first green allele, that is an R. I'm going to go ahead and add those in my first gamete. Let me do that. Uppercase F, uppercase R. That's first. The next step is outer. You're going to go ahead and add the outer alleles. So if I do that at the top, that's going to be this outer part and then this outer allele right here, the two outermost alleles. So that's an uppercase F. That is a lowercase r for that gamete. Notice as I'm making my gametes, I have one allele for each gene, one for freckles, one for tongue rolling. So it's important that we keep genetic information. We're not losing genetic information in our alleles. Next one is inner. Let's go ahead and get those inner alleles. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the bottom to show you that arrow. There's my innermost allele on the blue side. There's my innermost allele on the green side. That is a lowercase f, uppercase R. Finally, my last gamete, L, stands for, you might have guessed it, last. So my last allele are going to be the last ones in that color. There's the last one there, blue, lowercase f. There's the last one there, green, lowercase r. And go ahead and draw that. All right, here are my gametes. These are my 4 gametes that are going to move on and contribute to the next offspring. I can run my punnet. So let's go ahead and consider what information we're using to run the punnet now that you know how to foil. So here's the question. A person, I am recording, a person is homozygous dominant for freckles. Okay, before I move further, I'm going to go ahead and say homozygous dominant for freckles. So that's this guy over here, homozygous dominant. I'll go ahead and write that in my respective color. So homozygous dominant for freckles. And it looks like they're heterozygous for tongue rolling. So heterozygous for tongue rolling, that's this guy again right here. Heterozygous for tongue rolling, so that's uppercase R, lowercase r. There's one parent. That's their genotype. They have a child with a person who's heterozygous for freckles. So heterozygous for freckles, that's this guy right here that we've worked with before. So that is an uppercase F and a lowercase f. It's heterozygous for freckles. And it looks like they cannot roll their tongue. Cannot roll their tongue. That's only one possible genotype. Homozygous recessive. Lowercase r, lowercase r. They're my parents. Now, you are going to tell me, you guys are going to tell me the genotypes. You guys are going to tell me the gametes. It looks like I did this incorrect to where so I'm sorry, I don't want to go back. So it looks like I already gave you the genotypes. So sorry, these are them. I want you to actually tell me the phenotypes from the question. What are the phenotypes, since I already gave you the genotypes? Then tell me the gametes as well. And then you're going to run your punnet and answer the questions below. Your punnet. The way you set it up is a 16 square or 4x4 punnet. So to help you with that punnet, make sure you have a lot of space to run this. You'll have 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 4. Then on the rows, you will also have 4. So there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and 4. Then you're going to write your alleles, your gametes. So each one that you guys get will go here on top on their respective part. Then each one here will go down here. So I actually want to help you with one of the parents. I'm going to help you set up for one of them. I'm going to go ahead and write it. And I'm actually going to show you this parent. And I'll put that parent at the top part of that punnet. Now remember to find this information, how I knew that those gametes were there, one of each color. Remember, I need one of each gene to go into the gamete, so I'm not losing my freckle trait, I'm not losing my tongue rolling trait if I have it. So remember, I use my foil, first, outer, inner, last, in order to get those gametes for the punnet. Okay, you guys will tell me the gametes that are over here. Run your punnet, bring down the gametes to their respective box. You should get 4 alleles, just like the parents, making that organism diploid, and you will discover the traits that those offsprings will have in that dihybrid cross.